Hi, I'm Stuart Barker, the ISO 27001 Ninja, and we continue our journey into ISO 27001 2022 clause by clause. This is ISO 27001 clause 4.2, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties. So we're going to take a deep dive, see what the standard is looking for, see how to implement it, look at a couple of common gotchas, things that people get wrong, what an audit is going to look for, how you can fully satisfy that standard. So what are the needs and expectations of interested parties? If you've ever in traditional business projects done a stakeholder analysis, it's pretty much that, right? So what we're looking at is who might have an interest in our information security management system, who might have an interest in the outcomes of that management system, and what are their interests? What is it that they want to see from it? What are their goals? What are their objectives for it? Now, there is a common list of interested parties, right? They come up time and time again. It won't come as a surprise to you to realize that I have a template, an ISO 27001 template that covers it, pre-populated, fully populated, pre-written and ready to go. And it sets out what those needs and expectations are per interested party. But if you were going to go through it, you're going to think about what the interested parties could be, both internally and externally to you. So let's have a think. Who could have an interest in our information security management system? Well, senior leadership, the board, our shareholders, they're all going to have an interest in our management system, whether or not it's mitigating risk, whether or not it's consuming resources. We're going to have our staff are going to have an interest in it, our clients, our customers, potentially our competitors. So there's a whole list of people that are in there. And as I say, they're already in that template for you. But let's have a little look at some of the detail that goes with it. And as always, I end up reading a little bit. But let's have a look at some of the details. So the purpose, what is the purpose of clause 4.2? So the purpose is to make sure that you have considered people, their requirements, and also how you're going to address those requirements through information security. So we've got to tie our information security back to their requirements. What is the definition? So the ISO 27001 standard defines ISO 27001 clause 4.2 as the organization shall determine interested parties that are relevant to the information security management system. It shall determine the requirements of those interested parties. And this is it is new, which of these requirements will be addressed through the information security management system. So ISO 27001 clause 4.2, the requirement, it, as you would expect, it is actually part of clause 4, context of organization. I have included it in the context of organization document. It's in that same document. And it's broken down into identifying internal and external issues as well as the needs of the interested parties. When it comes to implementing that, how would I identify interested parties? Well, interested parties is just another way of saying stakeholders. We've already touched on that, right? So you could do a traditional stakeholder analysis. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve from this. If you want to do it more formally, you could just get people in a room, right? You could brainstorm it, spitball it, or you could take the context of organization template that I've already done for you, download it, reuse it, follow the guide on how to tweak it and adapt it for you. So lots of different ways, right? Once we have identified who they are, how are we going to identify their requirements? We could ask them. That's probably the most simplest way. We could ask them, or again, using the template, I give you guides on that. Now, there is a blog that goes along with this video, so I'll link to it below in the YouTube. In that blog, I set out all of the details. I give you a table of all of the interested parties and all of their requirements, and I show you exactly how to do it. But if I give you some examples, so the kind of requirements that people are going to have on an information security management system are that it meets our legal and regulatory requirements, that it avoids or contributes to the avoidance of a data breach, right? That it reduces our number of incidents, that it helps us to avoid legal and regulatory fines, that it gives us a commercial advantage for tenders, and that it gives us a commercial advantage when it comes to sales, and that it protects our company reputation, that it provides a work environment that is safe, right? That it allows people to conduct their role with undue bureaucracy, that it is providing us the ability to cooperate with external investigations if they come up in a timely and an efficient manner. So there are lots of different requirements. All of them are listed. The basic principle is do a stakeholder analysis, ask the people in the room who might have an interest in this, identify what their interest may be, document that, and then be able to tie that back to your information security management system. Now, the approach I'm taking currently is not to write down how the management system directly reflects their needs, because by its very existence it does, right? So what I would do come the audit is I would verbalize and I would provide a narrative around what it is that I have done and how that links directly back to those requirements. So what is an auditor going to look for? An auditor is going to look for that you have documented the interested parties, right? If it isn't written down, it doesn't exist. They're going to look for how you address those requirements, and again that you can link those requirements back to the ISMS. What are the top 3 mistakes that people make? The top 3 mistakes are that you have no evidence of anything that happened. What do I mean by that? As a bare minimum, you need that list of interested parties and requirements. You know, if you can evidence that meetings were held and you've got meeting minutes where you discussed it, if you can provide ancillary documentation in terms of stakeholder analysis or whatever it may be, then all the good. You don't have to do that, right? But that is going to add some additional weight when it comes to the audit. They're going to look and see, you know, a top mistake might be that you didn't link it to your ISMS, right? So you just chucked a bunch of requirements down, but none of them are actually specific or addressed by the ISMS. It's apparent if you take the list that I've got, right? You know, reduction of legal and regulatory breaches, data breaches, you can see and you can narrate and discuss exactly how that would tie back. And the third mistake that people make, it's the common one that comes up time and time again, your documentation is wrong, your housekeeping is wrong. So again, I'm going to stop going through these, but for now, as you're following them in order, you know, version control in the header, in the footer, wherever you use the version control should all match up. There should be a version control table, there should be a last reviewed date, there should be a document owner, there should be information documentation classification. All of that housekeeping, oftentimes we see is wrong, and that's going to catch you out. Who is responsible for ISO 27001 clause 4.2? As always, senior leadership, right? It is a leadership top-down standard. The reality of the delivery of that is probably going to be the information security manager, or worst case, somebody in IT. And then FAQs, right? There's a bunch of FAQs on the blog. I'm not going to go through them in the video. If you want to see the blog, click the link below. But that is ISO 27001 interested parties summary. Who is interested? Who has a vested interest in the outcome of it? Whose resources are you consuming? Whose money are you spending? Whose problems are you solving? List them. What are the requirements that they have? List them, and then be able to tie that back to your information security management system. So I'm Stuart Barker. I am the ISO 27001 Ninja. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I am very needy. Subscribe to the channel. There is a wealth of information on there. All of the information around 27001 I provide you for free. I look forward to speaking to you and showing you the next clause in the series. But for now, peace out.